want to talk about the disappearing student. In almost every course that I've taught, there's been some student who just stops showing up to class. And the question is, what do I do about it? Well, the policy at the school has changed. It used to be that at the after the 50% mark that you could get a WP or WF. Well, that's no longer possible. And so my policy is going to have to change here. So I will say that if you show up for at least one class after the 60% mark at this point, then you're sticking out the course. If you disappear before that, well, if you disappear well in advance, like after 1 or 2 days you disappear, I will eventually get around to dropping you. Ideally, you would drop yourself, or if you don't know how to do that, if you send me an email saying you're going to drop the class, I will drop you, or if you let someone else know to let me know that you're going to drop the class, then you can do that. And so ideal case is that you don't drop the class and you are very successful. But for those students, for whatever reason, want to drop the class, then it's the best possible way, if you're going to drop the class, is for you to fill out the form. There's some online forms to do it. But if you're relying on me to do it, I'll eventually get around to it. Now, I don't know what happens if after I think it's October 27th, look in the syllabus for the exact date. After that, if I try to drop you, I don't know if it will let me or not. So it depends on what kind of chance you want to take on that. But again, ideally, you stick through the class, it's a great success for you. Second situation is if you have to drop for whatever reason or wish to drop, that you fill out the form. Another thing is that if you're dropping the class, the more detail you put down, the better. I'm not going to hold a grudge. I've had one student who wrote down that instructor dropped a class, and for the reason instructor was no help at all. And I have no recollection of that student ever meeting me in my office, ever discussing anything outside of class. I really don't know specifically what the student was referring, where I was no help. So again, the more detailed, the better. I want to improve, but I can only improve if I actually get some specific feedback. So thank you very much. There's another story that I don't do in the video where I actually got some direct feedback from a student. No, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. There was one particular situation a couple of years ago where I stepped out of the room, and as I was walking back, I heard the students talking about me, and I walked into the room, and all the students got very quiet. And one student, though, when I asked what was going on, not in a mean way, I was just more curious, one student said something directly to me. He said, "Sometimes you come across as arrogant." And I asked for specifically what it was that came across that way, and he told me, and I changed the way I do it. Now, I might still come across as arrogant at times. Sometimes it's mock arrogance. Usually when I believe I'm arrogant, it is in part of my sense of humor. But I really appreciate the fact that he told me directly to my face what the issue was. And I believe I made changes so that I stopped doing that. So I do take criticism, preferably without profanity. But I've gotten it with profanity too, just not my preference. So anyway, that's it for the disappearing students and getting feedback to me. I hope you have a great day.